Wrestling fans, what's going on? You are live right here with us, the Wrestling Rumors crew on WrestlingRumors.net for Wrestling Warm-Up. It's Monday night. It's January the 19th, which means Raw Reunion is tonight, which means we have 6 days into the Royal Rumble, which is one of my favorites, if not my favorite pay-per-view each year. WrestleMania is always awesome, but Royal Rumble at least gets us to where we're going in that, and there's always some kind of sense of excitement about, all right, who's going to win this thing? How are they going to do it, even if we know who's going to win this thing? All this good stuff coming out for Royal Rumble. Love it. Excited. Should be a good show Sunday night. We only have a couple matches confirmed for the card outside of the Royal Rumble match. Hopefully we'll get more clarity on that tonight during Raw. But we got our birthday boy, Alex Bison, joining us. What's up, buddy?
Big 1-0. Very good. No, I am legal, by the way, now, so that's, you know.
Our resident
Get your heart out, ladies.
Our resident youngin. He can smoke, he can vote, he can go to a whorehouse. Chris Walter, you're joining us.
Jesus.
From the icy cold regions of Canada.
That's why I wear my toque and my hood indoors, because I don't leave my bedroom door open and the heat doesn't come in and I regret it later. But happy birthday, B-Song.
Yeah. And Will Benson, who we rarely never see on this.
It's already January 20th there, probably, but we're still
no, they still have 30 minutes. They still have 30 minutes because he's 5 hours ahead. So, Will Benson, happy birthday. Another Wrestling Warmers guy, our resident webmaster. He's awesome. If you have Will Benson and Alex Bison on your Facebooks, if you're on your Twitters, at TheRealWB, at GlassModeALB, wish them happy birthday. It's a good one for both of them this year. So it's 2015. Royal Rumbles this week, guys. Are you excited or are you not? What are you looking forward to the most? Give me some little Royal Rumble preview. We will have Wrestling Room up at 6 o'clock on Sunday. Wrestling Room right before the Royal Rumble. We'll be going live at 6 p.m., not 6:30, so make sure you join us 30 minutes earlier. We'll run down the entire Rumble card, give you our predictions for what we're going to, who we're going to think's winning what. But what are you guys excited for the Rumble this week?
All you, birthday boy.
Thank you. I'm just excited for once we have unpredictability surrounding the event. I mean, there's a chance that it might suck if Reigns wins, but even if he wins, you could still be excited about that somehow. But, like, last year, I was so pumped for the Royal Rumble because I was actually going to the event. I'm not going to it this year. It went across the state. But I'm still really excited because there's so many just variables that we have there's no firm thing that's going to happen in all of these matches that are going on, especially the Rumble match.
I'm not looking to the Royal Rumble probably as much as I should be, because frankly the Royal Rumble should just be called the coronation of Roman Reigns, because it's pretty much a given at this point that he's going to win the Royal Rumble match and head to WrestleMania and fight Brock Lesnar. But at the same time, I hold out that slight hope that maybe Daniel Bryan, or an underdog that no one sees coming, comes out of nowhere and wins this thing. The thing that I'm most interested with the Royal Rumble, if you want to talk about the coronation of Reigns, I'm looking at the coronation of Seth Rollins, because that match against Brock Lesnar and John Cena solidifies him for sure that he's a main event talent. He's going up against the two biggest names in the business. I can't wait to see how he fares.
Yeah, I'm excited about that too, man. The triple threat should be intense. Should be a good match. I mean, Rollins is... I've said on this show week after week after week. I say it on Twitter every single week. Rollins gets better every single time he touches a microphone, every time he gets the shot to be in a final segment or whatever he's doing. Rollins has impressed me. I know plenty of people still give him a ton of crap saying he shouldn't be in that spot, but especially after last Monday night, the man has earned his main event spot. Everything he did in that final segment was gold, and he is the top heel in the company. Again, I can compare him a lot to Edge when Edge was transitioning from mid-carder to main event guy. He has a lot of similarities there. I love the fact that he got, Edge gave him that rub and then tweeted out, he's like, look, it's your spot to lose now, boy. Like, don't ruin the push you're given. I love that because he really is a lot like Edge in 2004, 2005. And I fully expect him to get just as big as Edge did as a major heel in the company. And I think we could see him potentially walk out as champion on Sunday night.
I wouldn't go that far. I think he's
there.
Yeah, definitely. I think that would be just as big a shock. I mean, it's not going to rank in the history books like Brock Lesnar beating Undertaker, but Seth Rollins beating Brock Lesnar before, because we all assumed Lesnar's going to drop the title at WrestleMania on the big stage. He's held it this long, and he hasn't made as many appearances as you would like him to. Right. So you feel that the end game is WrestleMania, he puts someone over, and then he heads off to do MMA or whatever he wants to do. But Seth Rollins, sure, he doesn't have a 0% chance, but I think Lesnar is the heavy favorite.
Right. Even with the leak of John Cena may be champion that they promoted on a couple of websites for local ads,
which they changed, by the way, right?
Of course, they did it as soon as sites like ours broke the news that there had been advertisements saying that John Cena would be the champion. They went back and obviously tried to change that. But that's the same thing they did with Batista last year, and look what happened. Batista showed up. So John Cena has a good shot. That's what I'm saying. This triple threat match on Sunday is unpredictable, and that's why I am extremely excited about that title match at Royal Rumble, because it's unpredictable at this point. I have no idea who's going to walk out as champion. When we originally assumed, well, it's definitely going to be Brock Lesnar. I'm not sure of that now. And I love that I'm unsure of that now.
It's awesome, too, because with Rollins having this slight chance to win, I mean, it's so unprecedented. If he got the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and he could carry around that briefcase, that's just money. They're not going to do it, but that's just, they really...
But do you think WWE would actually have the guts to say, WrestleMania 31, we have Brock Lesnar on the card, we have John Cena, we're actually going to close the show with Seth Rollins? Because I find it hard to believe that they would have anything else closed besides the world title match.
Yeah, I don't see that happening either. That's one of the reasons why I'm like, okay, well, maybe we get our first ever cash in at WrestleMania. But who knows, man? I mean, they're putting it out there where, I mean, again, do you want Lesnar to be in the final match when everybody knows he's leaving? Look at what happened in WrestleMania 20 when everybody knew he and Goldberg both were leaving. Yep. And that match was an absolute stink fest. And without Austin stunning them at the end of that match, the crowd would have just been so dead for the rest of the event.
And then you factor in Roman Reigns, right, who the WWE Universe continues to be split on. So if you have the crowd booing Lesnar because they know he's leaving, and then booing Roman Reigns because they know he's going to win, and they're not completely sold on him, we could definitely get another Lesnar-Goldberg match, and you don't want that to close WrestleMania.
No.
Yeah, but like Walter said, that's going to close WrestleMania this time around. There's no way they can have their marquee event of the year end with people booing the entire thing.
Yeah, and
especially after last year.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing too. That's where we come up to the Royal Rumble match itself, and we're talking about Roman Reigns more than likely being the victor of this thing, right? We've heard for months that they're wanting to put Roman Reigns in the main event at WrestleMania, give him his time to shine, make him a major superstar, a big main event top face, possibly replacing Cena at some point. I don't think he's there yet. I don't even think that the officials in the back think that he's there yet. But I don't know if they're going to change their plans unless the fans absolutely crap on him winning the Royal Rumble on Sunday, which we could see. And I think the dangerous thing here is, obviously, and I talked about this earlier to you guys before we went live, but to me, watching television on both Mondays and, of course, this past Thursday, they're setting it up where it's going to be Big Show and Roman Reigns as the final two, and Roman Reigns may get his Cesaro moment picking up the Big Show and tossing him over the ropes. That's how you may get a pop for him if he picks up the Big Show, because we haven't seen Roman Reigns do something like that yet. If you give him a pop spot, like a monkey spot like that, where he picks up the Big Show and throws him over the top rope, you're going to get a pop for that. So that may be the safest finish for the Royal Rumble if we're going to go Reigns. But the dangerous place is, what do you do if you have somebody like AB, you suggested maybe, or either you or Walter did, suggested maybe Dean Ambrose or someone else being in the final three, and Reigns eliminates both Ambrose and the Big Show to go to WrestleMania. That's dangerous, because the way the IWC is and the way the Philly fans likely are going to be, because they're all smart fans, there's going to be a lot of, if Ambrose is in there to the bottom three, Ambrose may be the guy that the fans are cheering for and wanting to see win, and then if he gets eliminated by Reigns, it's going to be Bautista all over again. Same thing with Daniel Bryan. The final two cannot be Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns. It cannot. And I've said that since Daniel Bryan announced that he was going to be in the Royal Rumble in December. I said on this show multiple times, you cannot have Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan be the final two in this match. It cannot happen. If Roman Reigns eliminates Daniel Bryan, you have Bautista all over again, and Roman Reigns' shot is just absolutely squashed. There's no way he can be that guy that you want the fans to get completely behind. It can't happen. The only way I can see that happening is him picking up Big Show and throwing him out at the end.
See, I still see that as a bit of a risk because, like you said, the Philly fans, they definitely don't like Big Show, even though Big Show deserves some respect. They're probably not going to like Big Show, but we've seen that, as someone defying the odds. It looked really good when Cesaro picked up Big Show and put him over the ropes, but you have Reigns who can, stand toe-to-toe with Big Show. I don't think it would be... Sure, some people might pop like the casual fans, but I still think if you have Big Show and Roman Reigns as a final two for more than a couple minutes, there's definitely going to be some boos there. I don't think there's any... That might be the safest option, but there's not many options that do benefit Reigns, in my opinion.
It's only happened a couple of times, but it feels like forever that Big Show has always been like the runner-up in a Royal Rumble. I remember off the top, he was the last one eliminated when The Rock won, and then when He Who Shall Not Be Named won. If there's any others, feel free to let me know.
2000 and 2004.
Yeah, is there any others that he was in? He was near. There's a couple where he's been in like the final four, I believe.
Right. But, 2001, he was close. 2001, Kane eliminated him.
Look, that's the safest way to kind of avoid the whole Bautista thing with Roman Reigns. But I still stand by the fact that the final three in this thing are going to be the Shield guys, and I don't think Seth Rollins is. I mean, we'll talk about it on Sunday. I don't think Seth Rollins is winning the title match, but I do feel that the Authority will get him in the Royal Rumble, and then we'll see Reigns, Ambrose, and Rollins, and that's ultimately going to screw up because in Philadelphia. Even Ambrose is going to be super over, and then Seth Rollins, he's going to have quite a following too because the IWC respects him for what he's accomplished. Roman Reigns is the odd man out, and I don't think there's any scenario really, even with the Big Show, where the fans aren't going to poop all over it.
Well, I don't see Seth Rollins getting put in the Royal Rumble. I could see what you're saying with it. Maybe if he loses, they can throw him in there, but I doubt. Yeah, he would have to be number 30 if that's the case. But I do believe. Getting to Raw tonight, I do believe we're going to get somebody put in the number 1 spot for us to go into SmackDown knowing who will be the number 1 spot. If we don't, then we get it on SmackDown. We very well could see with Daniel Bryan facing Kane for his Rumble spot on Thursday night. We may have the Authority tell him that he's going to be number 1 on Thursday. We'll know that tomorrow night when we report rumors or report spoilers, but. If not, they could go ahead and just give somebody the number 1 spot. We know tonight that the 3 guys that were supposedly fired, Ryback, Eric Rowan, and Dolph Ziggler, will be at Raw. We already know that, yet they're fired and they shouldn't be there. So, of course, this storyline is completely stupid and pointless and negated everything that the Fall presented to us on television, making us even stupider for watching it. With these guys coming back, is it possible that maybe Dolph Ziggler or someone like that gets thrown into the number 1 spot instead of Daniel Bryan?
Yeah, I could see all 3, just the Ryback, Dolph Ziggler, Eric Rowan being 1, 2, and 3 in this match. I still can't figure out how they get back their jobs in the first place because it's going to have to be some sort of outside, authority figure other than Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. I mean, the Legends being there, I don't know if they get some sort of magic power where these 3 come back, or maybe they come in from the audience and they just kind of cause a ruckus, and Triple H says, "Oh, you can have your job back because we want to beat you up or something." I don't know.
That'd be the most. I swear that would be them treating us like we're 2-year-olds.
They treated us like 2-year-olds in the first place by making us think that they're really fired. We know that's not the case.
I mean, they're already being...
angles in professional wrestling are a pet peeve of mine. I absolutely hate them.
All angles in professional wrestling right now are pet peeves of mine. Because I've seen so many people saying, with the star power that's going to be there tonight, Sting may be there tonight. That's cool. I'm fine with that. We're officially getting close to the road to WrestleMania starting. He's either going to be at Raw tonight or he's going to be at the Royal Rumble on Sunday. I'm fine with that. But at no way, and John Alba, who's not here to defend himself, hopefully he'll be with us on. Oh no, he'll actually be at the Royal Rumble on Sunday, so he won't be there either. John, if you're watching this, which I know that you're probably not, you're probably doing something else. You'll watch this later though. Hey, buddy. John was saying that Sting should be the one that tells these guys to come back and gives them their job back, and I'm like, how do we get to that? Like, how do we get there? Like, well, he's a vigilante that just showed up out of left field, out of nowhere, and attacked Triple H. He doesn't have power to give somebody their job back. It's got to be Vince McMahon. It can't be anybody else. Unless the Authority does it, which would be the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's got to be Vince. Vince has to be there tonight.
But I don't even know why Vince would want to do it at this point. I mean, there has been a little bit of a tease with conflict between Vince McMahon and Triple H, but at the same time, the only reason I could see him doing it is saying it's best for business. They're three of our top faces. We need them back on the main roster. You kind of jumped overboard. You went cocky with your power as soon as you guys came back, and we want all three back on the roster. But even that seems kind of ludicrous.
Right, because it took him 3 weeks to make that decision.
Exactly.
And two, if Vince comes back into the fray, you would have to think you have to have the Vince McMahon Triple H feud that was rumored to occur last year. You have to have Sting then step in and represent Vince McMahon, and I just don't see McMahon returning to television on a semi-weekly basis.
Well, they did say rumors have said, and we've reported this, that Vince doesn't want to be on TV a lot, but he will be there for the Mania season. He's always backstage anyway. He just doesn't want to be on TV because he's getting old as hell. But he wants, he will be on TV for Mania season. So take that with whatever grain of salt you can get in your mouth, because I don't see him being on TV a lot. But if it's to force a Sting Triple H match, then that's what he's going to do. But there's got to be somebody like Vince McMahon. There's no one else that has the power to bring these guys back other than Vince McMahon or the Authority. So either the Authority brings him back, which makes zero sense, or unless it's Triple H saying, I'm a man of second chances, blah, 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 blah. The same stupid spiel we've gotten so many times. I don't know. What I'm more excited for tonight, outside of anything like this, is the whole Raw reunion angle. I'm excited to be on Wrestle Reaction after Raw tonight as well with Frank Manzo and Joe Omega. I'll be on there with them running down the show tonight because I've been super excited about this. Obviously, the NWO will be there. I'm assuming we're going to get Hollywood Hulk Hogan instead of just Hulk Hogan tonight. NWO is going to be there. That's how they were going to push this thing in the first place before all the Nash stuff happened. Thankfully, the Nash charges got dropped from his altercation with his son, and he's going to be on the show. They've added him to the 5-point preview as well for today. As well as, we're going to have the NWO, more than likely with the grainy black and white visuals. I'm sure they'll come out all together. We're going to have Shawn Michaels and Triple H, and of course X-Pac. I don't know, the New Age Outlaws. It'd be nice to have a DX and NWO face-off. I don't care. Obviously, they're not going to fight, and they're not going to have any kind of altercation where they get physical. But man, a DX NWO face-off tonight would be awesome because we've never seen that, and we'll likely never see it again. This would be the time to do it. Obviously, the Click, I posted a picture on Twitter earlier. The Click, the WWE Instagram put up a picture of the Click in the arena earlier this afternoon with scripts in hand, reading whatever they're going to be saying during the show. I'm excited about that, man. I'm excited about these superstars we have that are going to be on the show tonight. A lot of star power. They have a lot of potential for this show tonight. Hopefully they'll pepper these legends in throughout. Basically they just pulled up anybody that has a Legends contract and signed them for Raw tonight. You reported today, Walter, aren't the APA supposed to make an appearance? Isn't?
Well, the original plan was to do an angle where John Bradshaw Layfield would be called out by the Ascension because of the commentary he's been doing the last couple of weeks burying them, and then Ron Simmons would come out and they would do kind of some sort of back and forth between the APA and Victor and Connor. But now it looks like they might be doing something with the Outlaws. Apparently, they want to do a couple of matches between those two teams because at least the Outlaws could still wrestle. I don't think they have any intention of making the Acolytes do a match.
Right. Well, I see a lot of people in our chat room and on Twitter asking what side of the fence, if you did an NWO DX face-off, would X-Pac fall on because he was in both. Hey, you're forgetting that in 2002, Shawn Michaels was part of the NWO as well.
Yeah.
He was part of that too. So you can do or say whatever you want. You may get him twice in the night. I don't know. I don't care. I'm just happy that all these legends are going to be on there.
You forgot the biggest name.
Who? Ric Flair?
No, Jimmy Hart, man.
Jimmy Hart will be with
Hulk Hogan
yeah.
appears. Jimmy Hart's right there behind him with his
Of course.
phone.
I'm sure there'll be more than what they reported as well. You could, I mean, why have legends appear before the Royal Rumble without bringing out the first Royal Rumble winner ever? And that's Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Why not have Hacksaw Jim Duggan on there, Roddy Piper, or whoever else you want to bring out there? You got to freaking the coolest thing they could do would be what they did at WrestleMania 17. Just have a Legends Royal Rumble tonight. Just have a Battle Royal with the Legends. Obviously, that's not going to happen, but
no,
cool.
Cheeky baby.
The Sheik in a wheelchair and part of the.
They'll wheel him up into the.
I don't know if they'll wheel him out there. That's funny. Yeah, he can yell at Rusev for using the camel clutch is what he can do.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, I'm excited about that tonight, man. I'm super stoked that we're gonna have that many legends appear. And like I said, hopefully it won't just be the final segment. I don't think we're gonna get Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins, John Cena to close the show. I think we'll get something around the Rumble. Maybe we get 30 men in the ring beating the crap out of each other like usual for the Rumble. They either do that on Raw or on SmackDown right before the big event on Sunday. Last year it was on SmackDown, so maybe they take that back and put it on Raw tonight because we saw all three of the guys that are in the championship match face off against each other in the ring last Monday. Now, of course, they're previewing tonight's Raw with Brock Lesnar get his hands on Seth Rollins, and this teasery is leaving me excited as well because you have Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman teasing like they may have a relationship once Lesnar's gone. And you have this whole Brock Lesnar dynamic involved with all this where Rollins has curb stomped Lesnar twice now. And Lesnar, I'm sorry, you can say what you want. I hate when John Cena takes the curb stomp because he jumps like 3 feet up before he takes it, and it just looks ridiculously stupid. It looks like Seth Rollins has a magnet on his shoe that just somehow magnetizes Cena's head and picks him up to drop him, and I hate it. But Brock Lesnar has taken the best curb stomps. Both times, both at Night of Champions and on Raw last Monday, I'm like, Brock Lesnar literally just allowed him to just stomp his face into the mat like crazy. And it looks really good when he hits it on him. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Brock Lesnar still got it, man. I really wish. I've been going through all the Rumbles to get excited for Sunday. And, man, I really, really wish that Brock Lesnar had a passion for pro wrestling because that guy could have been the face of the company for 13, 15 years. Like he's so good at what he does when he's actually there that I wish he was there more often and did more stuff. Like I just really did. B-Sung, you weren't really watching wrestling back then when he was in his peak, but if you've ever got a chance to go back and watch this,
yeah, I've seen some of his early when he first came onto the scene. It was some of the best stuff. Like right out of that Attitude Era, that was just so good for Lesnar to be he should have been the guy. Unfortunately, that goes to Cena instead because Lesnar left the WWE. But like you said, he could have been the top guy for years and years to come. You look at him now; he had so much time away from the ring, but he's come back and he's put on so many good matches that the longevity would have been impeccable.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wish he had the passion for it because obviously he didn't, and that's why he left and went and did professional football and didn't cut it there. Almost tried to kill himself, and then that's what the dagger on his chest represents. And then of course he succeeded in UFC for a while. But I wish he had a passion for it, man. I wish he wasn't there just to collect a paycheck because the guy is so good at it. He's so good. He's just a natural athlete. And he's so good at it. I just wish he had more passion for it. But I mean, what are we gonna get here, man? This triple threat thing. I love that they added Seth Rollins to this because now it's not predictable, and we're getting good in rings. I could listen to Paul Heyman all day. That's something that has been well documented. Paul Heyman is a master of the microphone. But do we see a potential teaming up of Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman in the future? And if so, does that start on Sunday?
Well, that would be the easy thing to do in a post-Brock Lesnar world because, I mean, unless kind of Paul Heyman just calls it a day and says, well, Lesnar's no longer doing this, I really don't have, that, connection to wrestling anymore. So, but if he does decide to stick around, Seth Rollins would be the perfect guy to team up with. But then again, usually in the past we've seen Paul Heyman team up with guys who can't get over on the microphone themselves. Seth Rollins has proven each and every week that he's absolutely fine where he's at, and he doesn't need a guy like Paul Heyman. So I'm curious to see if they do kind of form that alliance, but I'm not banking on it.
I would like to see a bit more teasery with Lesnar retaining the title, maybe Rollins does help him out a bit, but you don't have that complete turn for Rollins to align with Heyman. And then you can set up building Mania around Rollins rather than a guy like Roman Reigns by have him cash in that final match where Lesnar does lose his title. And even though Rollins is he's so much better on the mic than he was when he first started as a heel. Even though he might not need a guy like Heyman, you align him with Heyman like you aligned Punk with Heyman. You make Rollins so much better. He's so much easier to be hated and not, cheered as this good heel. So I think you have to go like that when Brock Lesnar does eventually leave WWE for MMA again.
And the interesting thing was that they set it up, they teased it, where if Seth Rollins does decide to shake hands and become a Heyman guy, that Brock may literally lay down for him to take the title and protect him for the upcoming 3 months against whoever is going to be the guy that wins the Royal Rumble. That was interesting to me because that's something that we've suggested on here, but never, didn't think that we'd hear that suggested on WWE programming. So I like that they teased that, and who knows where we're going to go from Sunday. The road to WrestleMania will start on Sunday, right at around 11:15, and we'll see where we're heading. But man, I'm stoked. I'm actually excited. After 3 weeks, 3 weeks of terrible wrestling as far as TV goes, this past Thursday night we got really good stuff on SmackDown, and it really proved that Raw should not be 3 hours. SmackDown, there was no useless segment. Everything was well produced and well done. The wrestling was phenomenal. I really enjoyed SmackDown on Thursday night, and I hope that they keep that kind of momentum because they need it. They needed the ratings on Thursdays, and it just made for such a much more enjoyable product than Mondays produce. So I really hope that they keep that going. Obviously, NXT on Wednesdays are always going to be phenomenal. Like everything we get from there, we know what's going to be happening at the next Takeover event, which is phenomenal. I can't wait for that. But man, Mondays have lacked so much, and even with some of the backstage stuff that they tried to put out last Monday was still just, it just took forever for it to make sense or to come to revelation, a revelation of anything. Like freaking the Dean Ambrose segment last Monday where he's with the psychologist who apparently they couldn't get the same psychologist they used for the Thursday commercials, but they put out this other horrible actor to be the psychologist with Dean Ambrose. And, of course, it's the Authority making him pass an evaluation to even be part of the Royal Rumble, which makes me think Dean Ambrose literally could be thrown in the #1 spot this week. And I'm interested to see what happens with that. But it looks like they're going to be going, even with Ryback gone, they've started teasing this Dean Ambrose-Rusev feud. Do you think that could be the WrestleMania feud going forward, or do you still think that we're going to see Ryback and Rusev go forward?
I think if they do decide to go the route of Ambrose Rusev, it could open up again, like I discussed a couple weeks ago. Ryback is a good Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal type of guy, but still, I think Rusev versus Ambrose doesn't work. But I could very well see them do that because a win, even though Ryback's a big towering guy, a win against Ambrose solidifies Rusev more than a win against the big guy. But I think it would be a good way too for them to just keep putting Ambrose down. Don't let him build up any momentum to Mania. So I think they could very well have a change of plans there.
See, I have no clue what WWE is doing with Dean Ambrose these days, and I just feel like all of these losses is eventually going to just culminate in him turning heel. I think he does enter WrestleMania as a heel. I could even see a singles match between Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler. It doesn't have to be for a title, but I think that would be a good, lower card, open the show kind of match for WrestleMania 31. But, until I see Dean Ambrose win anything, because I've never seen someone who was as over as he was for a stretch not be able to win on pay-per-view, not be able to win on television. Like, if you look up his matches for the better part of last year, he was just on the losing end constantly. The only time you see him win is at, house shows and live events. So if he does end up going against Rusev, let's say at the Royal Rumble, yeah, he's not going to go over. I don't know what it accomplishes for either guy, but at least he'll fill out the card.
My thing is, the last time we saw someone this over lose this many times was Daniel Bryan. Which, hopefully they'll recognize that Ambrose was that over, and I'm sure he's one of these guys that can get back over where where the same way that Daniel Bryan did, because he's just a loose cannon. He's good in the ring, and I'm sure he can get that back. But man, I hate the fact that they just wasted the momentum that he had, and they did that on purpose, completely on purpose, because they wanted Reigns to get that momentum shift coming out of his return in December. But that hasn't worked out very well. They're teasing more Big Show Reigns stuff tonight. Reigns having issues with the Authority. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen there. But the biggest thing is we're going to get a match with Daniel Bryan tonight on Raw for the first time since he's returned. And of course, they're pushing for everyone to watch SmackDown on Thursday, because we're going to see whether or not Daniel Bryan can definitely overcome Kane again and keep his Rumble spot. But we're going to see him tonight, and one of the things they're teasing for tonight is, will the Authority heap more obstacles on him in his quest to win the Rumble and win WrestleMania? And that storyline, like that, the way they're booking this thing for Daniel Bryan is how they usually book the guy that's going to win the Rumble. So it's befuddling to me, because I think that they're doing that to swerve smart fans. And it's just the wrong way to go, in my opinion. I want to know your guys' thoughts. Like, do you see this? I mean, with the Authority going as much, going against Bryan as much as they can, again, just like last year, they're going to heap all this stuff on top of him. It seems like this is the guy that would be winning the Royal Rumble, but it's not going to be that guy.
I still stand by the fact that Daniel Bryan needs to be the one winning the Royal Rumble. I just felt like I've said before, his storyline heading into WrestleMania with him coming back from his injury and whatnot, it's too good to not put in the main event. But I think I reported today on WrestlingRumors.net that Sheamus might be debuting or coming back at the SmackDown tapings,
right?
And he's going to be coming back as a heel. And I think he's the perfect guy that you could team up with the Authority. I don't know if he's going to turn heel this week, but the Royal Rumble might be a good spot. Maybe he eliminates Bryan or something like that. I think they're just going to resort back to what they were going to originally do at WrestleMania 30, Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 31, which won't be a terrible match, because those two have proven that they can have really good, 15, 20-minute bouts. I remember they had a 2 out of 3 falls match at Extreme Rules, which was one of the best matches of the year. But do fans really want to see that? No, because Daniel Bryan is, above and beyond everyone in terms of a pop right now. Sheamus is not the guy you want to have feuding with him.
And see, because you haven't seen them face off in over a year and a half, it doesn't seem like they've had 1,000 matches together, but they have been feuding with each other since 2011, 2012. Like, these guys, they're like the Cena and Orton rivalry, where they have so many matches. I mean, lest we forget that Daniel Bryan got beat in how many seconds by Sheamus at WrestleMania? 18 seconds. And then, of course, they faced off again. And again and again and again, and then we had the tag team of Kane and Daniel Bryan, which took us to Daniel Bryan getting his face push. But man, oh man, like, if we see Sheamus come out, obviously I don't think he'll be coming out to cost Daniel Bryan his Rumble spot on Thursday. That would be the stupidest thing that I've seen them do in a very long time, and we have seen them do some stupid stuff over the last few months. It's got to be, if Sheamus returns during the Daniel Bryan segment on Thursday, then he's got to help him and solidify his shot at the Royal Rumble, and then be a face, and then of course cost him the Royal Rumble match and eliminate him there, and that's how we get to Sheamus Bryan.
Which would be just as stupid, though.
Yep.
Well, I think it would be, obviously that's the way to get him heel. It put instant heat on Sheamus, but then you're still going to see Sheamus Bryan at WrestleMania, and that just, to me, just screams, especially with Daniel Bryan in recent interviews saying that that's exactly what his plans were for 30 before the fans ruined all of that and CM Punk walked out. His plans were that it was going to be he and a heel Sheamus, and that changed because everything else changed. That would be the most uncreative. I think that would be one of the most significant pieces of proof that Vince McMahon has no pulse on what fans want to see at all.
There's only 2 matches that fans want to see with Daniel Bryan. He's either in the world title match against Brock Lesnar, or he's going up against Seth Rollins in some capacity. Other than that, fans don't want him to fight anybody else.
Yep, and if they do that too, it's going to be either one of two things. It'll be a couple-minute match that's just on the mid-card, undercard that people just aren't going to care about, or if they do, for some reason, give them that 15 to 20 minutes, you probably have those two steal the show for what will likely be a lackluster main event, and you're in that same cycle, which is exactly why CM Punk walked out on the company last year at this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's beyond me how we've gotten back to well, it didn't. I mean, honestly, where we're heading with, of course, Triple H possibly facing Sting as a representative for Vince McMahon if that storyline goes through, and of course, if we see Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan, we're literally just going back to the WrestleMania they wanted to put on last year.
Pretty much.
Like, that's exactly what we're doing, except for we have made a monster heel that people want to see lose in Brock Lesnar, which he's not even a monster heel. A monster, yes, but he's not a monster heel. He still gets huge pops, and people still, want to see him F5 whoever he gets his hands on, because he's Brock Lesnar. And you put that in the same retrospect, and you're like, okay, well, now we have, our guy that we want to be a superhero, which we even give him Superman's freaking sayings, and he's this, he's gonna slay the giant because I gotta get my Vince McMahon voice because I gotta think it's Vince thinking all this. Roman Reigns is definitely the guy that fans want to see win the Royal Rumble and win the title at WrestleMania. It's one of those things where we're literally just rehashing everything that didn't get done last year. Like, we don't know what that was supposed to be. Like, that's the biggest thing. That's like the biggest slap in the face. Like, we don't know what the plans were before Punk left and Bryan was shunned. I mean, it's Bautista all over again. I mean, we need a Bautista. We need Philly to just turn on Roman Reigns like as worse than they did Bautista last year. Period.
And still, you still have Roman Reigns win the Rumble. Then it's not like they can call it audible mid-match. Then you're just gonna have another triple threat again, or they're just
They just go with the match.
His spot, which would be even worse than him like actually just winning the Rumble and nothing else happening.
Yeah, because you're going to get, if that's the case, and they just go forward with what they're planning without any kind of change, and after the fans destroy him on Sunday, what are they going to do at WrestleMania? It's going to be Goldberg Lesnar, like we were talking about earlier. It's going to be an absolute boo fest.
They can't do a triple threat match because
Nope.
look, if it does happen, Roman Reigns is done. He's cooked. He can't come back from that because that's saying to the fans, okay, we know Roman Reigns cannot carry this match and he can't carry this spot. We're going to put Daniel Bryan here as kind of like an insurance policy because he's the #1 guy in terms of fan reaction every single week. We're going to put him there so you give a damn about the main event of WrestleMania. But after that, what becomes of Roman Reigns? Not a heck of a lot because you basically just gave a ringing endorsement that he's not ready, but you put him there anyway.
No, and then fans are going to be begging for Seth Rollins to cash in his freaking Money in the Bank briefcase, and it's going to instantly turn Seth Rollins' face.
They're doing so much more harm than good by it. If they rush Reigns into this main event spot, they could potentially kill this guy they want to be the next John Cena, which is unbelievable that they would actually rush him into this main event after he suffers this injury at Night of Champions. They should have just pushed his plans back for next year. But if they do this and they kill him, it's going to look so bad.
You know what? You know who Roman Reigns kind of reminds me of? I mean, not obviously they have two different styles and two different personalities, but it's kind of like what WWE did with Bobby Lashley back in the day. I think they had quite a bit of high hopes for him. He had the look. I mean, he was just as uncharismatic as Roman Reigns on the microphone, but he had that natural charisma to him. You looked at him and you just wanted to watch him wrestle. And he was pretty decent in the ring. He had his moveset and whatnot, but it's a lot like Roman Reigns. But he had his match with John Cena at the Great American Bash, I believe, and then after that he just kind of went down to ECW, did his thing with the belt there. But it's kind of like WWE always wants that next guy to be the next John Cena because you can't always have John Cena in the main event spot. But they have their next John Cena right now. You can make the case that it's Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, it's just not which the funny thing is, it's not what Vince wants. And a lot of people argue that it's not what Vince or Triple H want because he's not the big size. He's not, obviously we've had Triple H actually shoot a little bit on the fact that Daniel Bryan's not an A-plus player in their eyes. He's not the built guy that can handle injuries and handle things. I mean, obviously they've even had their beef in the back for Triple H calling the match where he got injured last year and having him have to come to the back. They cursed each other out. They got cooled down, and of course we saw Triple H put Bryan over because it was the best thing to do for business. And the way I see it is that it's really Vince, not Triple H as much, because I think Trips understands that the fans want Daniel Bryan in that spot because it's obvious and it's resounding. And I think one of the biggest things is look at who Triple H is signing in NXT. They're not signing the big huge guys anymore, and the ones that are there like Like Mojo Rawley obviously is out for a reason. Yeah, he's injured, whatever, but he wasn't getting over. His moveset's terrible. And those guys that they're trying to build that way aren't working out, but look at who is. Owens, Tommy, Baylor, whatever you want to call his last name. I hate reading that last name.
It's Balor.
Finn Balor.
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 Ireland. Yeah, just call him Devitt. I don't really care. But it's like those guys are the ones that are getting over. Sami Zayn is huge, and he's going to be a major superstar. But they're wanting to bring up people like Adrian Neville, not Aaron Neville, but Adrian Neville as a Mighty Mouse character. For the love of God, what are they doing with these NXT guys? But that's the thing. I think it's trips. I don't think. I mean, you have Baron Corbin. That's like it. But even he, spoiler alert, loses in an upcoming episode of NXT, ruins his push as an unstoppable force. But what? I don't see this. Daniel Bryan can't be the top guy for the company because he's not the look of a big, huge, muscular superstar. When you look at the guys that Triple H is signing for NXT, they're not that. So it can't be Triple H. It's got to be Vince, and that just keeps on rubbing the salt in the wound of Vince needs to step down and give the power to somebody else.
And, like they said it a bunch of times, we're in the reality era right now, and fans are kind of pining for those people that look like the run-of-the-mill Joe, Daniel Bryan is only, like 5'11", 200 pounds soaking wet. Those are the guys that we can relate to, but they're the underdogs. We want to root for them. But, the big guys, like, the Brock Lesnar's of the world, or, any kind of giant that WWE wants to put in that spot, yeah, they're cool on occasion, but we can't really relate to those guys. And we want those Finn Balor's and those Hideo Itamis, and that's the future of wrestling. Those are the quick guys. That's the style of wrestling we want to see. Vince McMahon just fails to realize that that's what the public wants, and that's why the ratings are bad, that's why the Twitter reaction is bad, and that's why everything is just kind of on a downward spiral at this point.
That's because we're not in the 80s mindset anymore. Yeah, I want to check out of reality and be able to enjoy wrestling, but most wrestling fans at this point want to see good wrestling more than they want to see the superhero, huge, big guy conquer Andre the Giant. There aren't Andre the Giants anymore. No matter how many times you want to try to make Big Show this immovable object, we've seen him cry thousands of times on television. Like, I don't look at him as this monster anymore. So, the only way that I can, it's a feat of strength when you pick up the Big Show. That's the only way that Roman Reigns is going to get a pop at Royal Rumble if he wins that way. That's the only thing I can see happening there. But it's not like the Big Show is like this monster giant guy that you can't blow through, because we've seen so many people blow through him. I mean, and that's the issue, is that it's not the 80s anymore, man. It's not Hulk Hogan has to succeed, and that was the way it was back then, man. Cartoon character-esque guys like Hulk Hogan, the big muscular guys, was the guys that people like us, like men, wanted to check out and say, dude, that guy's my guy. Like, he's this huge guy that should take out these guys. But it's not it anymore. We want to see guys that can actually wrestle, and that's obviously that was CM Punk's argument, is that he knew the fans were going in that way, and Vince didn't want to go that way, and that's what happened there. But you have guys like, Daniel Bryan proved it last year. And if he hadn't gotten hurt, he would have got destroyed by Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, and we'd be right back in this discussion. But that's the problem, is that when you have so many freaking writers in the back writing all this stuff, having no idea what the fans want either, and you have Vince McMahon signing off on all of it, or if he's not signing off on it, he's rewriting everything 30 minutes before the show to put whoever he wants in a position to get over, and they're not getting over. It's just going to keep producing the same stupid bullcrap show that we keep seeing. And I want so much more for that. And after watching SmackDown, after watching NXT, I have hope. But it's very thin with Vince running the ship on Mondays and on Thursdays. I was very happy with SmackDown on Thursday, because guess who was the focus of it? Daniel freaking Bryan, and his energy was so up, and it made the show so much more enjoyable and more alive, it seemed. Like, it just seemed like it was something exciting to watch. And I don't feel that way about Raw on Mondays. The only reason I'm so excited about Raw tonight is because Royal Rumble is on Sunday, and because there's so many old legends coming back tonight. And I know they're not going to do anything productive other than just be on the show, but I'm excited to see that. And that's the thing, is that we have so many potential superstars on the roster right now that are just getting wasted. And I really hope, and I have hope.
It's kind of amazing that the most popular guys in WWE right now, or for, if you include last year, are wrestlers who came up from the independent scene. Daniel Bryan, CM Punk last year, Cesaro had quite a following, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose. It's because they applied their craft before, like in this day and age, it's all about getting to NXT, doing developmental, doing WWE training. But it's the guys that know the ins and outs of the business because they clawed and they scratched and clawed all their way to the top to get to WWE. And now that's why the fans respect the hell out of them. That's why they know what they're doing. That's why they know what they're doing on the microphone between the ropes. And, God bless Roman Reigns, but the fans are just not buying into it right now.
Right, because he doesn't fit the mold of what we want to see succeed, and that's the good wrestling and that kind of build, that kind of can you go all out all the time kind of mentality, and that's where we are.
And by the way, it was last week when he cut that promo in the ring about the
Jack and the Beanstalk. Yeah.
Anyone on Twitter, me and Frank got into a conversation about this. I cannot defend him at all. I don't care how bad the writing was. Roman Reigns butchered that thing. I absolutely hated it. Everyone was defending him, saying, well, it was the writing, and there was no way he could get that over. You know what? People have done far more with far less, and Roman Reigns proved right then and there that he can't carry a crappy promo. He can't cut his own promo. He can't cut anything at this point. I hated it, and I hated that everyone was defending it.
At the same time, though, you have to think, he was really speaking very sarcastically through a lot of that. That could have just been him as, like the wink he had on SmackDown, 2 weeks ago? That could just be him kind of rebelling against it a little bit. Granted, it was a terrible promo, but I don't think it's time to bury him quite yet.
No, you can't do that. The sarcasm, the winking to the cameras, you can't do that because that just means that you don't have a set. If he wants to get over, he needs to go off in his own little tangent, say whatever the hell he wants to say, and maybe that'll get him over. But for right now, with him cutting these fairy tales and suffering succotashes and whatnot, it's coming off so bad. It's making him look like such a wuss, and I'm sick and tired of it. Like I've said 1,000 times, he should have never spoken ever. He should have just been that mute who just goes to the ring and beats people up, and if he does talk, he just says a few words and that's it, like I'm going to kick your ass or whatever. But now he's cutting these stupid promos, and it's killing him.
I agree, and the biggest thing for me is, and you said he was saying it sarcastically, and that came off even worse to me, AB, and I was railing it on. I even put up this meme of Jack and the Beanstalk with Roman Reigns' head, and of course Big Show as the Giant, and that got retweeted a good bit last week because it was the stupidest thing. I mean, I don't care how you deliver it, but his delivery was even worse than what it should have been, because for me the sarcastic tone of the "Can I tell you a story, Big Show? You want to know a story? I'm going to tell you a story. And it's about the guy that slayed the giant. And he kicked his teeth down his throat." And I'm like, this is the biggest crock of crap that I've ever seen. And this is the guy that's supposed to be the next big John Cena? John Cena got over in 2003 from doing his rapping gimmick. I mean, that's how it was. He was going out there and saying whatever the heck he wanted to say. And yeah, it was in a gangster right rapper gimmick, but it got over because he was going out there and saying whatever the heck he wanted to say. At some point, we talked about this last week, at some point, when you're given something that stupid to say without being sarcastic, just throw it away and say whatever you want to say. Because the only way people get over when you're given that kind of crap is to throw it out the window and say whatever you really want to say to get the fans behind you. Because look at Austin, look at Punk. The way they got over was because they said, whatever, I'm just going to say what I want to say. And yeah, it wasn't completely scripted back then for them either. At least not for Austin. And Punk, because he was leaving and had nothing else to lose, said, okay, well, I'll say what I want to say in a work shoot. That's fine. But at some point, one of these guys has to step up and say, look, I'm going to say whatever I want to say. And you can say everything you want to say about how, what he's given to say and how he presents it, but after Monday No Water, I can't defend it either, because there's no way that he should have ever had a script in there for him to reference himself as Jack and the Beanstalk. There's no way that your monster face should be talking about and being that cartoony and goofy for 15 minutes, and then at the end of the show coming out like a freaking freaking badass, like just wet, coming down the freaking, like on Thursday where they presented him, and here's Roman Reigns' entrance, and he's just mad at the world, coming down the freaking audience, coming out through the audience. That should just be his gimmick. He shouldn't be saying anything.
You know what the scary
talking. He should just be the badass that comes down through the crowd.
You know what the scary thing is that I just kind of realized? Heading into WrestleMania, Paul Heyman is going to eat his ass alive. I don't know. I mean, the back and forth. I mean, because Heyman's obviously going to be doing all the talking for Lesnar. We're not going to see any back and forth with Lesnar and Reigns. If you have Roman Reigns go toe to toe on the mic with Paul Heyman, my God, Roman Reigns, you might as well slit his throat now because he's good as dead.
I mean, I completely agree.
That's a good way too with Doug, like you said before, like Lesnar gets cheered, you'll be having people just cheer for Lesnar, who they build up as this monster heel because he beat the streak. Mm-hmm. You'll be making fans root for that guy. That's how bad it'll get if they go that route.
And I fully expect that to happen, man. I don't see how they stop it. If they go Reigns Lesnar one-on-one at WrestleMania, I don't see how the fans out in California, because these are smart fans. The only fans that go to WrestleMania are smart fans. I'm sorry. It's the only people that'll shell out the money that it costs to go. And the tickets this year are ridiculous. The smart fans are the ones that are going to be there. And there's no way that they don't. Again, even if Reigns pulls it off, they're going to be cheering for Lesnar. But even if Reigns gets the title, they're instantly going to be cheering and wanting Seth Rollins to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. And you're not going to get the response that you want for Roman Reigns. He's not going to have his moment. It's not going to happen. You can shell out as much confetti as you want, but they're going to be begging for Seth Rollins to come out there with the briefcase. That's just where we are.
This is strictly, look, if they do go with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar and they have any doubt whatsoever, the only way they can get around it is if they main event with something else. And the only logical thing I could come up with is Sting versus Triple H closing the show, and then Sting stands victorious, and then you do some sort of a tease with The Undertaker, and then close WrestleMania like that.
I know, but how much confidence does that show in your new made guy?
Mm-hmm.
None.
Sometimes you just have to think logically and say, we can't get away with this. That's what they did last year when they added Daniel Bryan. How much of a disaster it would have been if it was Batista versus Randy Orton? They pulled the audible and they put Daniel Bryan in there. Maybe as we head closer to WrestleMania, and I really do think that the reaction this guy is going to get at the Royal Rumble is going to be disastrous. I think that crowd is going to absolutely poop all over him, and I'd be surprised if it wasn't the case. So if we go into WrestleMania like that, they'd be stupid to at least not consider moving it away from the main event.
And let's talk about one thing before we get off of here. The biggest thing about this Sunday night was that rumors are, because of where they want to go with the Rumble, they want Rusev to face John Cena. They're wanting Rusev to interfere in the triple threat match. Like, here's the rumor. Rusev, an impossible spoiler if it actually happens, Rusev is supposed to freaking interfere in the triple threat match and cost Cena the championship. And that's how Rusev and Cena starts their feud. If they go that route, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That I have ever heard. The only way that you can possibly, if they're wanting to do Rusev versus John Cena, and I hate that I'm even going to say this, is to have Cena win the title and Rusev win the Royal Rumble. That's the only way you can get to Cena versus Rusev at WrestleMania and it make any kind of sense. Any kind of sense. I don't want to hear this Rusev supposed to face John Cena out of the left field. Who does that benefit? No one. Don't give me that bull crap, people on Twitter and in the chat room. Only way that it makes sense is having Rusev win the Royal Rumble.
That's like the least exciting John Cena. I mean, I say it out loud, John Cena versus Rusev. I'm supposed to be excited probably a little bit just because Rusev is undefeated, but then it's like, okay, well, either he beats Cena, which is just another win. I mean, beating Cena these days doesn't mean anything. And then, or Cena wins, and he's the one who ends Rusev's streak, which is just stupid. So
ridiculous.
I could care less about that match. I'm falling asleep just talking about it.
I can't wrap my mind around the fact that people want Rusev versus John Cena. I don't care if it's fans or the people in the back.
And assuming, too, that Cena doesn't win the big title, you're going to have Cena face the United States Championship at the WrestleMania? What a joke.
No, Rusev will drop it in like a triple threat or something.
To who and why? Like,
then he has to get pinned or submitted, and it's just stupid.
I mean like a triple threat where he doesn't have to get pinned, you know what I mean? Like at Fastlane, he fights like Ryback and Rowan or something.
Oh.
Ryback, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Yeah, look, my boy Eric Rowan. What happened, buddy? You fall off the map. Oh well.
No, and that's an issue. And I want to put this out there because I think that the only reason they went with this whole fired angle, if it's not to have someone like Vince McMahon bring these guys back and start having a Vince McMahon versus Triple H power struggle, which is the only logical thing the firing angle brings to the table. It was that they literally just wanted to kill Dolph Ziggler's momentum. The guy was the hottest guy in the company before Daniel Bryan decided to come back. Dolph Ziggler was and we haven't talked about him in a couple weeks because he hasn't been on the show, but so it's working. I think that they literally did that to screw Ryback, screw Eric Rowan. That they weren't in the same league as Dolph Ziggler going into this whole road to Royal Rumble. But I literally think they may have done it just to squash Dolph Ziggler's push and his momentum.
Yep. Honestly, though, Ryback was getting pretty over with the crowd too for once. Not at that level, obviously.
Not at that level, no.
Along with Cesaro, if there was ever a guy who would probably benefit from leaving WWE and working on the independent scene, it's Dolph Ziggler. He's never going to be champion. He's never going to main event WrestleMania because I don't think WWE will ever put full faith in him. They've listened to the reactions he's got in recent years. They've had the opportunity to do something with him, and they've never done it. And as we head into the new year with WrestleMania and WrestleMania 32 in Cowboy Stadium, they're certainly not putting him in the main event in that pay-per-view. So what's the point? What's the point anymore? I think he would just go to Ring of Honor, go to PWG, do something, make a lot of money, and earn the fans' love again. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, look at the demand for Alberto Del Rio since he left.
Yeah,
love. He's everywhere, man.
He's Mr. Indy right now. He could make $400 grand in TNA. Whew.
Making money everywhere because he doesn't have to be tied down to one organization. That's the thing. I mean, he turned down $400 grand at TNA because, and who knows if TNA could even pay that. So that would be a shot in the dark to agree to that deal in the first place. But then you're having a no compete deal as well. So you can't work. I mean, outside of TNA does allow their talent to book indie bookings as well. But this guy's going to be he's in a bidding war for MMA. He's all over the indies, signed with Lucha Underground. He's been a part of Ring of Honor. I mean, this guy's everywhere. And why? Because he's not a part of WWE anymore, and he's probably making bank.
That means to be Ziggler.
I know. Well, I wish WWE would capitalize on Ziggler because he was super hot before he got fired.
It's too late.
And I wish that they wouldn't do that. I guarantee you that their biggest thought process of this whole firing angle, if we don't see Vince McMahon, was okay. We've got to get Dolph Ziggler. We got to cool the fans off of Dolph Ziggler. Now tonight will be interesting to see what kind of reaction Dolph Ziggler gets. Now, if it's WWE and you don't want each guy coming out individually, then you bring them all out at one time and it's a collective pop. That way Eric Rowan doesn't get the shaft, because if Eric Rowan comes out, gets a little bit of a pop, Ryback comes out, gets a little bit bigger of a pop, and then Ziggler comes out, it's going to be ginormous. So I don't foresee them not all coming out together. I think that would be disastrous on their part to bring them all out individually. But if they do, and you notice that Ziggler is the hottest guy coming back, it's beyond me how you ignore that.
He needs to have a singles match at WrestleMania. I don't think he's ever had a singles match at WrestleMania. If there's ever a year to do it, it's this year.
And give him something. I wouldn't mind. I mean, I would not mind seeing Dolph Ziggler, in some relevant IC title match with Bad News Barrett at WrestleMania. I wouldn't.
No,
they could do good. They could do a good match. I mean, that match would probably be one that would steal the show. Both guys can work. So I wouldn't mind seeing that, but at the same time, after that, you've got to do something with Ziggler moving towards 2016 because the guy's hot, and I know I'm almost positive his contract is up in 2016, so they would need to do something, or they're gonna miss out big time.
Now or never, right?
Yeah. And Acer on Twitter, before we get out of here, he's asking one question: with the tag team titles being defended at Royal Rumble, how about the IC title and the U.S. title? Probably not. We may get a U.S. title match if Ryback gets put back in the mix tonight. Maybe you get Rusev versus Ryback for the U.S. title. I don't think that's going to happen because then, Ryback would be probably victorious, and then that would just waste your undefeated streak for Rusev, which I think they would probably want to do that at WrestleMania to make a bigger match at WrestleMania. This guy's never lost, and here's Ryback, and Ryback can win his first major singles title that he's never won. I mean, freaking, it's the U.S. title, but he's never won a title, so put a title on him. I don't care. But then you have the IC title. I would assume. I mean, Bad News Barrett's in the Royal Rumble. Yeah, we've seen double duty at the Royal Rumble before, but I don't think they're going to go that route. They need more matches, so an IC title match would be cool. If you wanted to do a rematch for Ziggler and Bad News Barrett at Royal Rumble, they could go that route. I just don't think they're going to. I think the other titles match that you get is Nikki Bella versus Natalya or Paige, one of the two, if not a triple threat. She's got a hamstring injury, but like you said, Walter, she can still go with a hamstring injury. They're keeping her off of live events, but that may be because they want her to work on Sunday. So I don't know what else is going to make up the card. Hopefully here in the next 30 minutes we'll find out on Raw. Raw starts in 29 minutes on the USA Network. You've been watching Wrestling Warm-Up. Thanks, guys. We had a great turnout tonight watching the show. Thanks to Chris Walter for joining us, always at Walter Sports. Is there a Raptors game tonight, sir?
Yes, sir. 8 o'clock, but I'll be going back and forth because I'm actually interested to see what what happens on Raw tonight. But
yeah,
go
so
Raptors! We sucked yesterday. God damn it! But
fingers
crossed. We were eliminated.
Easy on the language.
We talk about Raptors basketball, and they start losing. I get passionate. And
I don't have a bleep button for you. I need a bleep button.
It's just Canadians, man.
Toronto it all up.
Thanks, Alex. It's your birthday, so I'll cut you some slack.
Of course, the birthday boy Alex B song at Glass Mode ALB. He'll be live tweeting tonight, I'm sure, as well.
Unfiltered, uncensored.
And unfiltered and uncensored.
Legally doing it.
Yeah, legally. You can legally say whatever you want to say. Of course, our other birthday boy is Will Benson. He's watching us across the pond. Happy birthday, brother. Of course, you can always catch Wrestle Reaction immediately following Raw on WrestleReaction.net or WrestlingRumors.net. I'll be joining Frank Manzo and Joe Omega for that immediately following Raw. We're going to break down the show and talk about Royal Rumble. Don't forget to watch Wrestling Warm-Up, this show at 6 p.m., not 6:30, 6 p.m. on Sunday night. We're going to go through the entire whatever we have of a Royal Rumble card. We're going to talk more about the pay-per-view. We're going to give our absolute set-in-stone prediction for the pay-per-view. We'll give a shout out to John Alba because he'll actually be there getting some interviews and stuff like that for us. We're excited about that, man. Royal Rumbles on Sunday. Follow us at Wrestle Rumors. I'll be live tweeting tonight and on Sunday night during the pay-per-view. More than likely on Sunday we will have a Royal Rumble game. We always do, where we give you a number and we'll send you a free gift if you win. That's how we roll here at WrestlingRumors.net. We'll have a Royal Rumble game for you guys coming up on Sunday night. I know people have been asking on Twitter and on Facebook if we're going to have another Rumble game like we always do. Yes, we will, and we'll be giving you something for free. Likely either some WWE merch or DVD or something. I don't know. We've got some stuff here waiting to go out and get shipped to you. Only people in the U.S., though, because international shipping fees are terrible. So we're going to let you know. How that goes. I mean, if you're in the UK or India and you want to participate, that's fine. You just have to pay your shipping fee. I'm not paying that again. That's just how we roll too. But no, we're excited for the Royal Rumble. We're excited for Raw tonight. Lots of legends. Hopefully this show won't suck. I really pray that it doesn't suck. Join us at Wrestle Rumors at Doug O'Mac. We'll be live tweeting tonight. Guys, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.